it was two telephones facing a wall and there was a plexiglass in between us, but I could see her and she told me that she was doing okay.
The first, we're hearing from one of the Venezuelan suspects taken into custody after being shot in Portland. Coming up, more on that conversation from the ICE detention center in Tacoma and how the man she was with pleaded in court. Plus, two young boys are in custody on murder charges. Authorities say that they are connected to the death of an employee at this convenience store. Also ahead, some big changes are coming into the way you get through the airport. How the new design at PDX hopes to ease your concourse commutes. Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green, headed over to Rod Hill and Chris McGinnis for a look at your weather and traffic.
Yeah, hey, not much fog this morning. No advisory for fog. There was earlier, but that's been lifted. Here's our low cloud look at the state capitol. So obviously good visibility, but the clouds are low. Well above freezing. It was right about 32 at this time yesterday, 41 this morning. So big difference there. And here we go. This is the lead story currently in the weather department. East winds picking up coming out of the Columbia River Gorge. And we're now seeing the rising sun and breaks in the cloud cover develop out over the Columbia from the springs at the waterfront camera, 40 degrees. So that basically means clearing is coming. It will sweep across all of the North Valley, meaning Portland. We'll be sunny and 50 at noon, and we'll be in the 50s with clear skies this afternoon. There will be increasing east winds in the usual spots. Here's Chris.
That looks awesome. A whole lot better than yesterday. All right, let's get you out the door. We'll start off in Clark County. The I-5 commute has already cleared south of the Interstate Bridge. You'll hit the traffic as soon as you get down towards the Expo Center. Meanwhile, behind door number 2, I think we're going over to the Sylvan Hill. Yeah, there we go. Highway 26 slow and steady right now near Skyline Boulevard. And last but not least, door number 3 takes us down to Tualatin. Always slow on this stretch of freeway. This is northbound near the 205 interchange. And again, nothing out of the ordinary here. The drive times right now, you're tripping from Wilsonville about 28 minutes, drive in from Troutdale and Hillsborough, 26 minutes both. And the trip across the Columbia River, I-205 wide open, I-5 right now. Most of the slowing is on the Oregon side of the Interstate Bridge. So 25 minutes gets you in from Main Street to I-405. China?
Thank you, Chris. First, new developments in Minneapolis. President Donald Trump is threatening to use the Insurrection Act to, quote, put an end to protest in the city. This comes after another person was shot by a federal agent last night during an immigration mission in Minneapolis. Federal authorities say that the person was hit in the leg and survived. Homeland Security says this all began when federal officers stopped a person from Venezuela who was in the U.S. illegally. They said the person drove off, then crashed into a parked car in a residential area before they got out and made a run for it. When officers caught up with them, DHS says 2 other people came out of an apartment and all 3 started attacking the officer with a shovel and broom handle. That's when federal officials say that the officer fired the shot in self-defense. While the mayor of Minneapolis acknowledged that there are still a lot of unknowns, he said the immigration crackdown in his city is not sustainable.
This is already the second shooting that we've had in a week. People are scared. The atmosphere is tense. But again, there is another option. We can stop going down this route together.
While still demanding ICE leave the city, the mayor also asked the public to remain peaceful. The man shot by a federal agent is now in the hospital, and the 2 others who allegedly attacked the officer are in custody. In an update, the suspect shot by Border Patrol agents in southeast Portland last Thursday pleaded not guilty in federal court to charges that include aggravated assault of a federal officer. Now, court records say Luis Nino Mancato appeared anxious during what Homeland Security says was a targeted traffic stop. They say he repeatedly rammed an unoccupied Border Patrol vehicle and fired 2 shots as Nino Mancato and his passenger, Yorlinis Zambrano Contreras, drove off. Federal prosecutors say both were in the U.S. illegally and have alleged ties to a Venezuelan gang. Our sister station, Seattle, talked with Zambrano Contreras at the ICE detention center in Tacoma. Reporter Sharon Yu shares some of her experience.
When I got inside the visitation booth, it was like a prison-style visitation booth. So that meant it was 2 telephones facing a wall and there was a plexiglass in between us, but I could see her and she told me that she was doing okay. She showed me her gunshot wounds. There was 1 wound to her left chest and 3 under her right chest. And there was a little bit of a language barrier, but I think she was telling me that 2 of the wounds that she had on her right side were from shrapnel, but I could see that she was healing okay. And again, she told me she was also feeling all right.
She adds that Zambrano Contreras is held in Tacoma because it has the largest ICE detention facility in the Pacific Northwest, and it's routine for folks detained in Oregon to be brought up there to fight their immigration case. Zambrano Contreras is set to make her first court appearance virtually tomorrow. Authorities say 2 young boys are now in custody in connection with the killing of a convenience store employee in southeast Portland. The case has deeply shaken the community as both suspects are so young, one not even a teenager. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson joins us live with the details on those arrests. Corey.
That's right, China. Police say they arrested a 12 and 15-year-old boy yesterday in Vancouver in connection to the shooting that happened here in the Hazelwood community at 3D's Market. Now, the 12-year-old is now facing first-degree murder charges, while the 15-year-old faces second-degree murder and robbery charges. Police say the victim, 33-year-old Santi Ram Ray, was shot and killed at the market on Southeast 139th back in December. Officers found him with a gunshot wound when they arrived, and he died at the scene. Now, Ray was a translator for the Bhutanese community, his death prompting an outpouring of grief from neighbors and customers who knew the husband and father of 2. Right now, police have not released details about what exactly led up to the shooting. Now, early this morning, a memorial still out there in honor of that shooting victim. Candles, flowers, and pictures placed outside the market. Now, both minors are also facing charges related to possession of a stolen firearm and stolen vehicle. They've also been arrested and taken to the Robert L. Harris Juvenile Justice Center, where they remain this morning in Vancouver. China.
Corey, thank you. The Salem man who pleaded guilty to killing his ex-partner was sentenced to life in prison late Wednesday. The crime was discovered after 40-year-old Tyler Holman got into a crash in Polk County in January 2024. As he was being taken to the hospital, authorities say a tow truck driver found the body of his ex wrapped in a plastic which had been flung from the car during the crash. Investigators later learned that 34-year-old Ashley Gandolfi had died from a gunshot wound to the head. Her mother was among those who spoke in court yesterday.
Our outlook on life has changed drastically since Ashley's murder. I've lost my love of gardening, all my hobbies, my smile, and a big piece of my heart. Each morning I wake up to the awful reality that Ashley is gone, and I relive the shock and pain all over every day.
As part of a plea deal, Holman admitted to second-degree murder and will be eligible for parole after 25 years.
For me, it's not an issue of how much it costs. I need this, and my insurance is willing to pay for it. You just can't get it. You're being told no.
That man you just heard from, Michael DeRozier, says pharmacies haven't been able to fill his insulin prescription for his type 1 diabetes since late December. And now Oregon Attorney General is suing several major drug companies, claiming they've been exploiting patients like Michael, and that the pharmacy benefit managers, known as the middlemen of the prescription drug supply chain, have been artificially inflating the price of insulin and other diabetes medications. AG Dan Rayfield said, quote, "This is about more than insulin prices. It's about the crushing cost pressures families are facing and the very real harm that comes when corporations exploit people who have no choice but to pay." Rayfield is seeking a court order to stop the alleged price gouging scheme. Part of the $900 million the state is suing for will be used as restitution for consumers. Portland City Council has a new president after some dramatic deadlock, multiple meetings and 13 rounds of votes. And as Blair Best explains, the winner didn't even want the job.
Deadlock.
This is going to keep going.
After deadlock.
This is just profoundly unserious at this point.
After deadlock. 13 rounds of voting over 3 meetings. A divided Portland City Council painfully struggled to agree on who should lead as council president.
We are in a crisis. This is a crisis of leadership.
Insults flew.
Last week, Councilor Maria leveled one of the most grievous insults anybody can level against anybody, against me and Councilor Clark.
And emotions took over.
I feel emotional hearing that because I actually feel really hurt, Councilor Novick, that you haven't said a single word to me or asked how I'm doing in the last couple of days too.
The candidates, Councilors Ilana Pertolgini, Samir Kanal, Loretta Smith, and Steve Novick. And in a last-minute nomination, Councilor Jamie Dunphy.
Well, I'm going to nominate Councilor Jamie Dunphy from District 1.
He reluctantly accepted.
This is not something that I have been seeking. and is not something I am excited about.
Just before 1:30 Wednesday afternoon, Council elected Dunphy as the new president. He received 9 votes.
I'm willing, not happy, but willing to do this in service of this institution.
Council president duties include running council meetings, setting the agenda, and the seating chart.
I will use this role to distribute power, not consolidate it, to build systems that treat each of us the same and protect this council as an equitable body for our colleagues and our constituents. I really don't want this to be a yearly ritual of hardened battle lines. This has hurt my heart.
At one point Wednesday, Councilor Smith threatened to sue the city over the ongoing stalemate, arguing the mayor should be the tie-breaking vote.
I would like to ask that we get a declaratory judgment from a judge to view our charter.
Turning to sue the city over this is just, it's very disappointing.
Portlanders are watching us, and they deserve better than a council that appears unwilling or unable to make decisions about its own leadership.
Your time now is 8:11. 8/11 is my birthday, for anybody who wants to know. August 11th.
August 11th.
August 11th.
Okay.
Turning 20.
I got you Reese's peanut butter cups last year.
You did.
It will depend on if those become more expensive this year or not.
Actually, I think you got me the Reese's Pieces after the, not for my birthday, but for after the bodybuilding competition.
Was that when I did
That was the one thing I was craving, yes.
I just remember there was one moment this year that I was nice.
That I liked you, yes.
That's really all I remember, yes. Okay. Here's the Vancouver, the Springs at the waterfront camera, and we're looking at this brightness trying to take over and win the battle of the low cloudiness. We don't have any fog really this morning. Up in elevation, some of the hills, that's about it. And we do expect clearing to take place between now and 10 o'clock. So we're in that 2-hour window where we think east winds will start to come out of the gorge and the low clouds will quickly clear away. It's 40 right now looking from Vancouver. And if you're up in elevation at Persimmon Golf Club in Gresham, so on the east side looking east, that's just clear up there. And in fact, you're starting to see a little brightness even from the camera atop the Pioneer Park building, again looking off to the east from downtown Portland. Temperatures are generally above freezing. Hillsborough is now down to 33. Forest Grove was at 33, now up to 37. So kind of bouncing around a little bit. Westland holding at 40. Salem's holding at 41, much warmer than 24 hours ago overall. And of course, we don't really have the fog that we had. Our Reserve Meters and Golf Club camera out in Washington County. Hello, West Siders. I know you are seeing some clear skies this morning. The coast, no marine deck. It'll be a sunny day. 60 in Tillamook. 50s with the clearing up and down the I-5 corridor coming today. 51 in Bend. It will be overcast. Pendleton, perhaps into the Dalles. And then tomorrow those clouds will start to build into Central Oregon. But once Portland clears in the coming 2 hours, I think, will basically be clear all the way into your weekend. The forecast is still dry through Tuesday. Here's Chris.
Rod, I needed you to take that extra 20 seconds. No, just kidding. Let's go ahead and get you out the door real quick. So we'll start off with the I-5 drive out of Vancouver. 25 minutes right now gets you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. This is a little misleading, though, because the end of the line has made its way across the Interstate Bridge. That's actually the live look right now up near the Expo Center. So that's where the lineup starts, and it's slow and steady from there the rest of the way into downtown, as you can see there on the red line. All right, over on the east side, Banfield. So we've got a disabled vehicle eastbound on I-84 out near the Hollywood district. So the eastbound drive is actually running a little thick right now. I mean, a few extra minutes for your commute. Elsewhere, the rest of the freeway system not in too bad a shape this morning. You're driving from Hillsborough, one of our slower commutes. And again, not that this is all that unusual. Right now, we're looking at 27 minutes to get you in from Brookwood Parkway to I-405.
Well, coming up, the countdown is on for walls like this one to come down as construction finishes as part of the Phase 2 project here at PDX. We'll bring you all the updates you need to know.
Officials in Denmark and Greenland say the massive island territory is not for sale, and they have a fundamental disagreement as President Trump asserts the U.S. must control it for national security reasons. I'm Alice Barr in Washington with the latest details coming up.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. shorter impact alert days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Big old changes are coming to PDX next week as phase 2 of the airport's redesign continues. Center's reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live from PDX. Thomas, what's it changing out there?
Well, China, the biggest thing here is there's going to be a new route connecting Concourse B and C, and we found actually the best way to show you guys this right here. This is right at PDX, right by the meter boards here. Here's B, here's C. This is going to reopen here. Of course, another plan here is for that same route between D and E to eventually reopen, but that's still a ways down the line. And they've got a lot of big plans out here. They've also been tearing up some of the carpet in the atrium of the old PDX. That's been a big plan here that they've been working on quite some time. And they brought in something called Y columns. Those are 55 feet tall and support the new section of the airport, including another 2 acres of that beautiful mass timber roof. There's also going to be new exit lanes, streamlining travelers to baggage claim. We spoke to a Port of Portland spokesperson about all the changes last year.
The bypasses are going to be gone, so they're going to have new direct routes.
So it's going to look a little bit like this. Right now, everyone funnels into the heart of the terminal after their flight, then flows out through the check-in islands. But once phase 2 is finished, those paths get a whole lot simpler, and each concourse has its own designated exit area. And that's going to be happening next week for that route between Concourse B and C. Coming up in February, just a couple of weeks from now, the Port of Portland tells us there's also going to be a couple new retail shops as they continue to expand that here in the airport. Now, for the timeline for when phase 2 will be completely finished, it's going to be gradual, but all of that work for the next phase will be done by June.
Our Thomas Schultz is now flying to Chicago. Have fun, Thomas. That's a joke. He's coming back.
I was like, is he
station.
really?
No, he's coming back to the station. He has more work to do. Get back here. All right, sun.
Yes, it's coming.
The big.
Yes.
The big talker today.
Salem, 37 yesterday was the high. And not only were you folks cloudy all day, as you know, but when I did the noon yesterday, you were still downright foggy. All of that is going to be clearing out today. We do have a lot of clear spots. Now, it was clear yesterday up over the mountain. That's still the case. Our Timberline camera, it's not quite as warm. It's about 5 degrees cooler than 24 hours ago, but still considered really mild at 47 degrees up on the hill. And if you are going to the high country today, again, a little bit cooler, but still considered really mild. I've got 48 Timberline Government Camp. Meadows could hit 50 today. East winds will be picking up 5 to 25 miles per hour. We still have the high pressure ridging overhead, which basically means we're going to be clear all the way through Tuesday. That's still the forecast. Now, we are seeing a new player, and that's this low cloud area. Cloudy today, Pendleton. It's cloudy in the Dalles right now. May stay cloudy for you folks today. East wind, this helps drive east winds because the low clouds lock down cold temps, produces a gradient. East winds start to come through the gorge. That's happening now. So we will see all of these clouds up and down the valley clear out in many locations before the noon hour. And in Portland, I think between now and 10, we will go clear. It is clear right now over at the beach. Here's what the east winds show. By 10 o'clock this morning, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts quickly picking up coming out of Troutdale. And then those winds get stronger into tomorrow. This shows 44-mile-per-hour wind gusts in proximity to the Columbia River. Our newest camera, our seaside camera, this is at the cove just south of downtown. And it is beautifully sunny. Look at the blue water of the surf coming in. Temperature up there is 42 degrees, light north winds at 5 miles per hour. I mentioned a moment ago that it is sunny out in Washington County. Here's the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. Beautiful sunny start to your day, and you will keep it. 41 is the temperature. And we're starting, this has been a gradual process, but eventually the bright spots will win out and all these clouds will go away. I think by 10 a.m., we're looking at an hour and 40 minutes from now, it will be clear. Here's the Vancouver, the Springs at the waterfront camera. 39 is the temperature. Really no weather-related issues at all this morning. 30 over in Bend, the big coat weather certainly in Burns and Baker City. Each of you are down to the teens. The valley forecast, many of you will be sunny by noon. Temperatures this afternoon generally mid-50s. Southwest Washington clearing this morning in the coming hour and 50 minutes. 57 and could be that warm in Battleground with the sun coming this afternoon. Once Portland clears, we'll be clear into Saturday. Breezy east winds, highs in the 50s. If you have wind at your place, you'll stay above freezing at night. And again, I don't introduce any rain chance at all until Wednesday at this point. Here's Chris.
All right, Rod, thanks for that. We pick it up on the west side, I-405 northbound. ODOT dealing with a little fender bender here near 4th Avenue, so obviously that's going to add some local slowing there. The freeways are actually in pretty good shape this morning. Again, we don't have the big time dense fog to deal with, and we're improving with the drive time out of Clark County now. We've got that whittled down to less than 20 minutes from Main Street. And in fact, the end of the line has worked its way all the way down to Columbia Boulevard. Of course, from there it's slow and go. Let's try that again. The rest of the way down to I-405. All right, over on the east side, Interstate 84, a little slow and go again, approaching the I-5 split. Your drive right now coming in from Troutdale at last check, about 25 minutes. China.
Thank you, Chris. Greenland remains a focus of President Trump. Coming up, how Danish leaders are reacting after their meeting at the White House.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pitawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team, tonight on KGW.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Not for sale. That's the message from Danish and Greenland officials to President Trump about the Arctic territory. They met with administration officials Wednesday and said that they have a different opinion from the president about who should control Greenland, but are open to expanding the U.S. military footprint. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
This morning, diplomatic divisions over the fate of Greenland, the Danish territory that President Trump insists the U.S. must control.
We need Greenland for national security. The president has made his view clear, and we have a different position.
Foreign ministers from Denmark and Greenland meeting at the White House with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who says President Trump would prefer to buy the massive island territory, a proposition that could cost as much as $700 billion, according to three people familiar with the estimate. Denmark, a NATO ally, insists its territory is not for sale. President Trump has not ruled out military force, citing what he views as a threat from other major powers.
The problem is there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland, but there's everything we can do.
It is not a true narrative that we have, Chinese warships all around the place.
On Capitol Hill, lawmakers in both parties speaking out against military action in Greenland, calling it
the most serious national geopolitical mistake this country could make,
while endorsing the power of alliances and the U.S. military presence already in place in Greenland to secure the Arctic.
The not smart, unachievable way
is whoever told the president that this was a viable path. It doesn't make sense.
Among Greenland's population of roughly 57,000, mounting anxiety as leaders promise to keep talking. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
How much marijuana do you think was confiscated at PDX last year? Probably a lot more than you think. We'll show you that after the break. And some changes to how business owners file their taxes this year. We'll break it down for you.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Good morning, I'm China Green. Portland City Council has elected a District 1 councilor who didn't even want the job as its new council president. This comes after a week-long deadlock and more than a dozen rounds of voting. In a last-minute nomination, Councilor Jamie Dunphy received 9 votes and became the new president, a role he reluctantly accepted. Duties include running council meetings and setting the agenda. Councilor Olivia Clark of District 4 was elected vice president. Headed over to Rod Hill for a look at your weather.
We do have a lot of low clouds out there, really not fog for the most part, unless you're up in the hills. And we also have a lot of sunny spots, including the coast this morning. Here's Snookwinds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Also sunny over in Central Oregon. And enjoy this because a lot of you folks could be cloudy tomorrow. But for now, this is a view from Aspen Lakes Golf Course at the Three Sisters, where temperatures will be up to about 50 for a high today. You've got the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Washington County off to a sunny start. Portland and other parts of the valley will be clearing during the morning hours, so we will end up with a sunny afternoon. I have temperatures today in the low to mid 50s, and once we clear, we'll be sunny all the way into the weekend.
All right, listen to this. A new study finds that horses really can smell our fear. Researchers collected samples of people's armpit odor when they were feeling scared, happy, and neutral. The researchers then exposed the horses to different odors and observed the animals' behavior. Analysts showed that both the horses' behavior were influenced by the human odor compounds. The horses exposed to odor compounds from volunteers who had watched scary footage were more likely to startle and were less likely to approach people or investigate unfamiliar objects.
I actually grew up with horses as a kid. My father had a quarter horse. We grew up, my brother and I, riding a Shetland pony. But it was well known, the old, you got to show the horse who's boss or you're in big trouble.
Okay.
Which
so
is kind of what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
Interesting.
Here's a look at our live sky camera down in Salem. Not foggy this morning and not freezing, but it is overcast, 41 degrees. I think odds, while not guaranteed, are good that you will clear out before the noon hour. Northeast winds at 6 miles per hour right now. Downtown Portland, cloudy currently, fog up in the West Hills. The odds I still think are likely that downtown Portland will be clear no later than 10 o'clock. So that's about 90 minutes away at this point. We are seeing some breaks in the cloud cover from our cameras looking off to the east. This was a little more promising. Now it's a little bit of a low glow looking eastward along the Columbia River. But this too should be clear no later than 10 p.m. 39 right now from the camera at the Springs at the waterfront. Our planner today, all sunny at noon, 50 degrees. Beautiful afternoon coming. Low to mid 50s for highs. East winds expected to pick up is the word I was looking for. Here's Chris McGinnis.
Okay, Rod, thank you for that. Let's get you out the door with a pair of traffic alerts now. I want to pick it up right now on the east side, I-205 southbound. A crash near Division has one lane blocked, it appears. A couple of cars involved with that, and you can see the traffic really slow. In fact, we're backed up about 2 miles or so back towards the I-84 interchanges. There you can see the southbound 205 drive. That's Rocky Butte, by the way, off in the distance. That is really slow. So give yourself some extra time to get around that. Again, that crash is near Division. Meanwhile, out in Yamhill County now, getting word of a possible serious crash on Highway 18 that has shut down the road completely just east of McMinnville. 18, again, a no-go, so you're going to want to use an alternate route to get around this. I'm working to get more details about this crash, China, and as soon as I have them, I'll bring them to you right here in the next few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Chris. New this morning, federal prosecutors have indicted 20 people, including 15 former college basketball players, in connection with a basketball game fixing scandal. It's the latest gambling scandal in high-level sports. According to those indictments, those involved rigged college games in the United States and professional basketball games in China starting in 2022. The charges include bribery in sports, wire fraud, and aiding and abetting. And one of those people indicted is Jalen Terry, who played one season of college basketball as a guard for the Oregon Ducks in 2021. His time at Oregon happened before the prosecutors say the scheme reached college basketball, which they allege occurred between 2023 and 2025. New this morning, we are getting new data on just how much marijuana was seized by Port of Portland officials at PDX last year. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us with more on that.
It's a lot, China. Let me cue viewers in here. We asked Port of Portland, how much marijuana did you seize 2025? Nearly 1,500 pounds throughout the year, and that's just from port officers. That does not include TSA agents or anything like that. Now, it also doesn't include what might have been carried on that TSA also seized at that point. A lot of people might be thinking, though, okay, well, marijuana is illegal here in Oregon, right? And yeah, that's true, but it's still not allowed on airplanes because up in the sky, all that space is federal area. We asked some people here yesterday what they thought about nearly 1,500 pounds, 1,477 to be exact, being seized last year. We found plenty of mixed reaction.
Yeah, I'm surprised. With suitcases and all that, realistically, you just never really know like what people got in there or anything like that too. So 1,500 pounds, 30 different cases, that is pretty surprising for sure.
Are you surprised it's that much?
Not really. I mean, it's Oregon, I guess.
You know, a little bit of mixed reaction there, different sentiments from some people we asked. Now, here's the thing. As that first man mentioned, this is only 30 cases where all of this marijuana was seized. So we got our calculators out. We started crunching some numbers and we found, okay, well, that means each case was about 49 pounds of marijuana each, just under 50. We also found out that the max weight of a checked-in bag, 50 pounds, China. So, food for thought.
Food for thought. All right. Thank you, Thomas. A former Banks High School teacher has been sentenced to more than 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to sex abuse. Prosecutors say 67-year-old Wyman Smith abused 2 students, initiating inappropriate relationships that escalated to sexual contact. Smith must register as a sex offender and has permanently lost his teaching certificate. The Department of Education is investigating multiple school districts in Washington state for allegedly violating Title IX. Among the districts under investigation is Vancouver Public Schools. The department is alleging that the district violated Title IX by allowing students to compete in sports based off their gender identities rather than their biological sex. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court heard arguments on whether to uphold the state laws that ban transgender girls and women from playing on school athletic teams. Oregon lawmakers are pushing back on a new move by President Trump to withhold federal funding from states that don't assist with federal immigration efforts. One proposed bill called the Recourse Act would allow Oregon to withhold payments to the federal government if it unlawfully withholds funds from the state. Now, this comes after President Trump announced that starting on February 1st, federal funding to states with sanctuary cities would stop.
If the federal government is going to disobey the law and we can keep even millions of more dollars in Oregon, I think that that is something that can make our community safer and more secure financially.
I think it's probably a bad idea. I mean, we rely on the federal government probably more than they rely on us. And at that point, again, you're flirting with a civil war. And I think Oregon seceding, even just financially, from the union is a terrible idea.
The bill will be introduced during the short session, which starts February 2nd. All right, now that we are past the holidays, it's that time of year again, tax season. As consumers get ready to file this year, there are some major changes that you need to know about before you do. Many of them are positive. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson has more.
Well, local tax prep professionals say there are 3 large changes that business owners need to be aware of. This as tax season gets underway on January 26th, so just over a week and a half away. Now, the first is called Section 179. That allows businesses to depreciate the full cost of certain equipment in the same year it's purchased. This year, the rules have been loosened, meaning owners buying things like machinery, tools, and technology could see a larger tax break up front. The second involves research and development or R&D rules expenses. Small businesses that do research were previously required to spread those deductions out over several years. Now they may be able to amend past returns and recover some of that money. And the third is a push to bring American manufacturing back to the U.S. Qualifying businesses may be able to use depreciation on certain buildings. Portland-based tax firm Foster & Associates tell me that while these breaks can be significant, they come with some big picture trade-offs.
When the IRS collects less tax money, there is more inflation. We have a fiat currency, and so that means that the majority of when the Treasury pays money out, inflation goes up, and when the Treasury takes money back in, inflation goes down. Then they're going to have to reimagine certain items for, say, government spending or the like to counteract the inflation because the Treasury is going to take less money out of circulation.
Now, with a lot of tax changes happening this year, local tax experts tell me consumers could see more random IRS audits and letters over the next year or two. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you've done anything wrong. They say the IRS just wants to check that filers are understanding the rules and following them correctly. Back to you.
After more than 2 decades in the Rose City, Urban Fondue and Bartini have announced they will be closing their doors. The side-by-side spot cited what they call declining neighborhood environment, citing city taxes and lease issues with their landlords. The restaurant first opened in Northwest Portland in 2003, specializing in fondue and martinis. Their final night will be Sunday, February 22nd. All right, headed over to Chris McGinnis for a look at your traffic.
Yeah, a couple of traffic alerts to pass along, and I want to start off out in Yamhill County, China. No further details to pass along yet at this point, but we're talking about the closure of Highway 18 south of the Dayton area. There's a crash near milepost 49.9. That's basically just east of the McMinnville Airport, and right now ODOT is reporting that that is closed. So at this point, maybe your best workaround, your traffic solution, might be Ferry Street or 99 W to get around that. We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, back to the freeways, I-205 south. This earlier crash near Division cleared to the shoulder, but you can see we're still pretty slow southbound. There's Rocky Butte off in the distance there, and that southbound commute's moving along at about 10 to 12 miles an hour. So we've got some work to do yet on that side of town. I-5 still a little slow through North Portland, and the Highway 26 drive coming in from Hillsborough. 26 minutes from Brookwood Parkway to I-405. China?
Thank you, Chris. Here's big news for the Oregon Ducks fans. Star quarterback Dante Moore is opting out of the draft and staying another year, while he says he's coming back after the break.
Hey, our team tests products every day. We only bring you the winners, and this one is super important because it's about protecting your private information. I have spent years reporting on this and teaching you how to protect yourself, and this product really helps you do that. It's called the ID Defender Premium Stamp Roller Kit, and what it does is it uses patented technology to mask your address. So you can roll through and look, I'm comfortable holding this private information up because you cannot see past it when you use it. Did you know, I just printed out this fake document, when you use a Sharpie on something to cross out your name, your address, all that, a scammer can literally hold it up to the light and actually still be able to read it, but not with this. You roll it through like that, done. You hold this up, a scammer cannot get that information. And you get a 3-pack of these, okay? You get 1,600 uses, which is pretty incredible. And I'm just gonna show you some other documents too. A personal check, Florida vehicle identification card. Again, very comfortable showing you all this because this stuff works and I want you to use it because it does protect yourself. Normally this is $47.97 for a 3-pack kit. Today, a deal, $24.97. One of our biggest deals to date, 48% off. I urge you to go get it. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Big news for Oregon Ducks fans because star quarterback Dante Moore announced he does not plan to go pro, at least not yet, and will return to Eugene for another season. Orlando Sanchez has more.
It's the news Ducks fans were hoping to hear. Oregon quarterback Dante Moore running it back for one more season. Moore making the announcement live on ESPN. He's 20 years old and just wrapped up his first season as the Ducks starting quarterback, throwing for 30 touchdowns and more than 3,500 yards, leading the U of O to the semifinals. Here's Moore on running it back.
This decision, mainly all my life, has kind of just been, being as most prepared as I can for any situation I go into. And when it comes to me just making my decision, of course, I want to feel most prepared. At the end of the day, I feel like I can still learn so much more. And of course, as a kid, since 4 years old, I've dreamed about being in the NFL. But of course, this team, we've been through a lot and a lot of people are returning. So I feel like we got, exciting things coming this year. And I'm excited to, keep pushing.
Moore was projected to be one of the top picks in the upcoming NFL draft with a contract worth about $50 million. Moore's message to fans: love you to death. I appreciate your support through the good, bad, and ugly this season. Now, Moore is among 7 key players announcing their return to Oregon next season, including his starting center and the entire starting defensive line, putting the Ducks right back in the contender conversation in 2026. But not everyone's coming back. All-American safety Dylan Thieneman has declared for the NFL draft. He had 96 tackles and a couple of interceptions last season, one of the Ducks' top defensive players. On the other side of the rock, arguably the Ducks' top offensive weapon, he's also taking his talents to the next level. Tight end Kenyon Sadiq putting his name in the NFL draft. Sadiq projected to be a top 10 pick, leading the Ducks in receptions this season. So Oregon will have to fill some key positions this offseason. Back to you.
Man, lift the spirits.
I mean, it's
when you're bringing your whole team back, the quarterback, the whole defensive line.
Yeah, you think they're...
Take that, Indiana.
I wouldn't go that far. It was a pretty tough year for the Ducks when it comes to Indiana. Sore subject there, but I just think it's crazy to think that this guy, this 20-year-old, is making this life-changing decision. I mean, yesterday he ultimately made the decision to either A, get drafted and get $50 million, or B, go back and go to war with his bros and hopefully make the best and learn more, I guess. But he could be hurt. He could go down in the draft. He's
still got a couple mil of NIL money, though, so it's all good. As opposed to back in the day, right?
Well, I'm thinking I would have run for the money. Yeah. Whatever that says about me. Here's a look at our satellite radar. We've got the upper level ridge, which means we still have a bone dry forecast outside of mist with morning fog all the way through Tuesday. Rain chances start next Wednesday. Maybe it's a dry day. Rain chances start and then get better into what looks to be a potentially wet weekend to follow. I'm talking about a week from this weekend. So here we are today. What's going to happen? We have east winds that are igniting out in the gorge, now gusting to more than 50 miles per hour at times out at Crown Point, the Vista House. So far, Troutdale down low in Multnomah County is seeing light winds, but those winds will start to blow. This is 10 o'clock this morning, showing already clearing in Portland, and eventually we'll see the clearing throughout all of the valley today, and the coast is clear right now. Now notice the clouds out toward Pendleton and into the Dalles. That cloudiness expands tomorrow. East winds get stronger as that cloudiness expands and keeps you folks cold, like in the 30s with no warm-up during the day. East winds, if this is correct, 30-mile-per-hour gusts at 10 o'clock this morning in Troutdale would definitely mean Portland would be perfectly clear by that time. So that's coming up on just about an hour and 10 minutes away. And then we've got stronger winds gusting to 40 or better coming out of the gorge tomorrow. So that's the transition setup. East winds to clear the valley today, and then we'll stay clear for several days. Here's our newest camera, Seaside, looking in the cove that sits south of downtown. Beautiful blue sky morning there. We've seen surfers here the last couple of mornings. Haven't seen any today. 43 is the number. It's been clear. We jump over the West Hills and travel out into Washington County. Here's the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. Beautiful 41-degree morning. And we've been flirting with these clouds, trying to break up. This will happen. I really think the call of clearing by 10 o'clock is a good one. So within another hour and 10 minutes or so, we'll see these clouds gone. Right now, 41, the view along the Columbia that springs at the waterfront camera. 47 up in Kelso, 41 Salem, 36 Eugene. It's cold out east this morning. Clear skies in the teens in Baker City and 16 degrees in Burns. I think you folks in Burns were 13 at one point. So one of your chilly starts this entire winter, actually. Valley forecast numbers for you. With the sun coming in most areas before noon, warming up into the 50s. If you're along the Columbia, those winds at least 10 to 25 and maybe stronger a little bit later today. This shows an impressive warm-up. Vancouver at 56, Battleground 57. 60 showing up in Tillamook. Look at that. Wow. Still sunny today in Bend. Enjoy it because you folks could be cloudy tomorrow. Then we have the clouds in Pendleton extending out into the Dalles. 7-day forecast. Once we clear, we stay sunny into the weekend. Next rain chance shows up on Wednesday, as I mentioned. It is birthday time. All right, our biggest party of the week so far starts with Maddie, who is 5, and you know, look at that cat smiling. Love that photo there. Happy birthday. Let's see here. Josiah in Gladstone is a ball player. Happy birthday to you. Hope you have a wonderful celebration today. Petra's in the leaves, all covered up. 6 years old. Happy birthday to you. Melody is 9. Happy birthday. Hope you have a fun day. Also celebrating today is Eliza in Lake Oswego, 14. Happy birthday on this Thursday. Ayana is 21. Big birthday there, obviously. Hope you have a wonderful time today. Greg up in Astoria is celebrating a birthday on this Thursday. And then put your hands together for Jack. So Jack says he's 102 because he eats ice cream and chocolate and says no to booze and no to tobacco. Happy birthday, sir. Looking good, 102. Birthdays at KGW.com. We'll celebrate with you. Here's Chris.
Okay, Rod, thank you for that. We pick it up with a traffic alert out in Yamhill County. No further details about the crash to share with you, but I do want to let you know about this at this point. Highway 18 is closed completely west of the Dayton area, just east of the McMinnville Airport near milepost 50. So obviously you're going to need to find a workaround around this. I'm working to get more details, but Highway 18 right now closed. Just east of McMinnville, the airport that is. All right, I-205 south here, still running a little slow because of that fender bender on the shoulder near Division. You can see traffic running a little thick all the way back to Rocky Butte. Heads up in Oregon City and West Linn overnight this weekend, Friday night and Saturday night, the I-205 Abernathy Bridge will be closing both directions for a few hours overnight as ODOT continues the seismic retrofit there on the bridge. So your detours, of course, during the closure, 99E, Highway 43, I-5. Local traffic between Oregon City and West Linn, of course, you can always use the Arch Bridge. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
In a wrap of our top stories this morning, authorities have arrested a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old in connection with a shooting that killed a convenience store employee in southeast Portland. On December 9th, the police found a 33-year-old Sentry with a gunshot wound at 3D's Market on southeast 139th Avenue. Both minors face charges including murder, robbery, unlawful use of a weapon, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. After multiple meetings and 13 rounds of voting, Portland City Council has selected Councilor Jimmy Dunphy as its new president. Dunphy was a last-minute addition to the candidate pool after the 12-member council was split during votings for other candidates. He reluctantly accepted the nomination and eventually won with 9 votes. And Urban Fondue and Bartini have announced that they will close their doors next month. The side-by-side spots cited what they call a, quote, declining neighborhood environment, citing city taxes and lease issues with their landlord. Their final day will be Sunday, February 22nd.
Weather-wise, if the weather guy's right, in about 1 hour and 5 minutes from now, we will be clearing in downtown Portland. Right now it's still cloudy. And then once we clear, we stay that way into the weekend. East winds developing, high temperatures up into the 50s.
Rod, thanks for that. We pick it up with a traffic alert in Yamhill County. A potentially serious injury crash right now has Highway 18 closed near the McMinnville Airport, specifically near milepost 49.9 between Dayton and McMinnville. Your traffic solution at this point to get around that. 99WE will keep you posted.
And a reminder, you can watch sunrise. You can watch these lovely gents anytime you want. on Sunrise, exclusively live here at 7 o'clock on KGW Plus. So we know you're watching now. It's 8:55, but you could do this starting at 7. We have also added another half hour of Sunrise. I say this every day.
You do.
Why?
It's still Sunrise.
At 12:30?
Oh, no. You're right. I mean, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. Watch us at 12:30 and 5:30 live here on Plus. That's all I'll say. Dang it.